August the 26th, 2019. Guys, we're watching a couple of different things. Here we have Tropical Storm Dorian, now at 60 miles an hour. It is still moving west-northwest at 14 miles per hour. And this disturbance number 1 is still pulling out into the Atlantic, but it's going to curve north into Nova Scotia in that area. And these guys are already getting pelted by rain that has been generated by this system from day 1. Now, the system we were watching in the Gulf itself is moving this way, guys. If you notice in the center of our state of Mississippi, where I'm at, we're under flash flood warnings, not watches. We have been getting inundated all night, still raining today. It's starting to ease up now as of 11:51 a.m. But it has been one of those gully washers, and it's moving over towards you guys in Alabama along the coast of Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, all through that area. Pay attention to it because you're going to have flash flooding, and you can see it here. And it's just pulling out of central Mississippi, but I don't know how many inches of rain we got, but it was a lot. And now it's moving again across Mobile and into the Florida Panhandle, plus going north into Alabama. Now, this is the latest on Dorian's path. It's predicted to become a Category 1 storm sometimes during the day Tuesday, probably late in the afternoon, Tuesday a.m. According to this, as it crosses the islands, it is still a tropical depression. Now, this has changed somewhat from yesterday. They had it just a Cat 1 just in one location, then quickly going to a tropical depression you see in the open rings, and then going to a low. So I'm not sure exactly what we're going to see here. I've got some suspicions, but here's the 12 p.m. update, which would be 11 p.m. Central. All the paths on the spaghetti models are pretty much moved just a little north to where impact looks a little further north than Miami. But remember the size of the storm. It's small, but it's compact, but it's going to be strong. Now, the CMC Canadian model showed this thing getting completely wiped out in the keel box. Now, let's go back to yesterday. This is what I'm saying. Only a Cat 1 as it nears Puerto Rico, and then quickly, not even back to a tropical depression, but back to a low-pressure system. Some things are known, and some things are put into the projection of the different weather folks, guys. They understand about weather manipulation. They've been told what's going to happen. But let's look at a couple models regardless. This is your WRF model. It shows Dorian coming through the islands, coming up through the Dominican Republic in that area, and that's where this one stops. Now, we're going to look at the Navy model. It shows it going into Florida. But here's the position of Dorian, and you can see two different things here. Saharan sand layer very thin, and then a very dark area, much thicker behind it. Now, it is not as thick in these thin areas as it appears here. Now, back on the coast of Africa, it is pretty thick. But you can see Dorian go up just north of Port-au-Prince and start absorbing this moisture. So there's a battle there. But, guys, this model particularly has been a little strange lately. Now, here's the Navy model. And yesterday, this thing was going right into the south tip of Florida, as you see the system moving up towards Nova Scotia. But now it's gone just a little further, and it's right on the western edge of Florida, right about to get into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, at that point, will it be caught up in this front and turned back up and out into the Atlantic, or will that pressure be enough to keep it moving out into the Gulf? And we'll just have to watch the models as it gets to that area. But some of the people that comment, some of you guys out there, have said that your local weather in the area is saying this thing will be ripped apart, will be nothing because of the wind shear. Guys, we are dealing with fake news all the way across the board here. We really have to watch this because there's definitely some man-made manipulation going on these systems. Here's a great look at going up to Nova Scotia. Since the first day this system was born off the Bahamas, it has been pushing moisture, so you're already getting heavy rain, and then it's predicted to come from the center of rotation right there, right up on top of you guys, so be careful of that. Also, we're getting strong storms in the center of the country. We'll see how that works out as the heat of the day goes on. But again, a lot of moisture moving up the East Coast. Now, looking at the wide view, there's right in the center is Dorian, and it looks very small and compact compared to looking at the entire Atlantic Ocean. But guys, it's wider than the Florida Peninsula, and about half as tall. Now, it's not quite into this Caribbean satellite, but this is where they are talking about wind shear really starting to get to it, and there is wind shear moving from north to south. Now, if we look at it from this image, I'm going to stop it. You can see the Saharan dust. It's thin where it's at, and a lot of that sunlight glowing off that thin layer, but it's much thicker up here. There's another system coming out off the coast of Africa that is semi-predicted to create a low-pressure system under that Saharan sand. But that sand's up in an upper level, and it moves much faster than these hurricanes move across the surface of the sea. But that's what they were talking about. As far as steering currents, check out what's going on in this, again, the path of Dorian. Coming from the north, and if you look at this area here, all of this surface level motion is coming north to south. From the bottom, it's going just the opposite flow, and it's kind of creating an alley there, like we talked about. And that may push this thing straight into the Gulf of Mexico if it gets through the keel box. We're going to be watching that, guys, but that appears to be what we're dealing with. If you look at a close-up of this storm, you can see that it's going through this storm cycles to where it builds up in the center, starts to fall apart, then it regenerates itself until it becomes stronger and stronger. That's just the nature of these. But we're watching it, guys. Again,